Hey there everybody, my name's Adam Vox, and welcome to a new commentary. I'm gonna try something a little different here. In this video, I'm gonna be sharing the lessons I have learned, the life lessons I have learned by living in an apartment for about 4 months. I'm recording this in early January, and I moved into my apartment at the very start of September 2015, and this is early January 2016, so it's been about 4 months or so. And I've learned quite a bit about life in terms of what it takes to actually live in an apartment, and it's more than it takes to live in a bedroom in your parents' house, which you would think would make total sense, but you don't really think about until you're actually living there. So, first and foremost, and frankly most important, is that shit is expensive. You have a lot of stuff that costs a lot of money. Now, I'm not just talking about the obvious stuff. Like, obviously, if you have bills to pay, you have bills to pay. And rent is certainly very, very expensive, and as is car insurance and health insurance and all manner of what other bills you may have. And in fact, I haven't even been keeping up with my cell phone bill with my parents. I do owe them quite a bit for that. But it's the small stuff you don't think about that actually costs a lot of money, such as groceries and just household items. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of money I spend every week on food and toilet paper, and the toilet paper is really expensive. I actually had my parents buy me some for Christmas, and I'll get more on that later. Paper plates, napkins, dishes when you need them. Towels are expensive if you need more bath towels, pots and pans, Q-tips, deodorant, face wash, that kind of stuff really, really adds up quickly, frankly more so than normal food bills. And stuff just ends up costing a lot of money. And so hundreds and hundreds of dollars a week don't go to your video games or your pizza. It goes to toilet paper and things like that. And in fact, for Christmas this past Christmas, my family mostly got us grocery gift cards and household items such as paper plates, hand soap, toilet paper, that kind of stuff. And that sounds boring as hell, but it was absolutely what we needed. And you really gotta budget very effectively and essentially not spend any extra money at all for a little while. To go along with that, to a degree, when it comes to the household items, is that something that you may be used to, is that, yeah, sure, you can avoid doing chores if you want to. It's your place. You can do a lot of what you want to. You don't own it since it is an apartment, but you can get away with a lot more. So you can avoid doing your chores. But you're going to be the one who regrets it later because they're going to stack up and it's not going to be pretty. Now, we play every now and then garbage Jenga due to another issue that I'll talk about in a minute. But if you don't take out garbage, suddenly you have a giant pile of garbage and boxes and food that you don't want sitting in a corner in your house. Same thing with dishes. If you put off dishes forever and ever and ever like I do sometimes, then when you actually need dishes, you don't have them. You have to do dishes to use dishes. And this becomes especially a problem when I wait till the last possible minute to fix me some dinner, and then come to find out the pots and pans that I need to fix dinner are dirty, and I need to wash them. And the only way to, use them is to wash them. And then that adds another 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many dishes I have, of time on top of the normal time I would be spending fixing food before I can eat. And I have regretted that many a times. Now with the garbage thing, you have a shared dumpster or a couple shared dumpsters that you share with, your section of the apartment complex. At least in my experience. Obviously, other various apartment complexes and things like that will be different. Mine is constantly overflowing. I literally have to sneak out as soon as the garbage truck picks up the dumpster, which isn't every day. It's like a couple times a week at most. I have to sneak out like as soon as it picks it up for me to go get any garbage out, which is why we end up playing garbage Jenga, because there's literally nowhere to put my garbage. There's garbage overflowing out of the dumpsters, there's garbage on the sides of it and stuff like that. Obviously, per community, this is going to vary quite a bit, but it is something that is certainly a problem when you have a lot of people in one place with a lot of garbage. No one's going to remind you to do anything. No one's going to remind you, oh hey, do your homework, oh hey, go to work, oh hey, you need groceries. If you forgot that there's a grocery there, no one's there to remind you unless you're living with someone, then they can maybe do it. But on the whole, you know, you're most likely living with a lot less people than you originally were, and you're the only one who can keep up with your stuff. So set up a Google Calendar, set up phone notifications, set up alarms, do what you gotta do, but no one's really gonna help you. You also have, on top of the garbage, you know, on top of taking out garbage with a lot of people, you also have to park with a lot of them. And this becomes a huge problem. Having trouble parking at stores is nowhere near as frustrating or problematic in my experience. Obviously, there's a ton of different parking lots, and even the parking lots within my apartment complex vary drastically. But parking at stores is nothing compared to trying to park next to where you live. Nothing's more frustrating than having to find a parking spot in front of your own freaking front door. And the parking lot for my, you know, block of the apartment complex happens to be super freaking tiny. And I end up, like, it's very rare that I can just pull into a parking spot and be perfectly parked. I have to back out quite a few times because there's so, like, you can only fit one car driving one direction in between the two sides of parking in this parking lot. It's really bad. No matter what, your neighbors will suck. It doesn't matter if they're the nicest people in the world. You're going to hear them knocking things around, talking at various points, playing loud music, whatever. And it's really obnoxious. I have seemingly decently nice neighbors, and I've talked to them and they seem fairly nice, but yet you still hear stuff that you don't want to hear, especially if they're, you know, doing the do, if you know what I mean. Now, I actually have fairly insulated or fairly thick walls, and I don't hear a whole heck of a lot. But on one side, whenever the people are actually home, and they're on this side, they're rarely ever home, it would seem, and they never check their mail, which is really trashy. But they're always playing movies or loud music with a heavy bass line. I don't hear anything but the rumble of the bass. And while I generally wear headphones and it's not super loud, it is still fairly annoying. On the right side, she has a dog that sometimes barks, and I've heard her doing the do, but not a whole lot of talking. But you're gonna have neighbors outside that are gonna be loud. You're gonna have neighbors inside that are gonna be loud. You're living literally right on top of other people. No matter what, you're not gonna have enough space for all your stuff. It's gonna start out that you're gonna take up very little space trying to keep everything neat and tidy, and then a month or two in, and suddenly you don't have enough space anymore. I went from one bedroom in my parents' house to an entire apartment, and I no longer have enough space for all the things that I own. It's pretty crazy. And lastly, you should pay your rent on the first day of the month, or whatever your assigned payment day is, no matter what. You should not allow yourself any room for excuses or risk of not paying it on that first day, ever. There's a ton of reasons for this, which include late fees and bad credit, on top of not seeming like a great tenant, which can, you know, hurt you in terms of getting better deposits on your next lease or what have you. There's literally no reason to allow yourself the mentality that it's okay to, you know, be late a month. And so if you set yourself up to not see it that way, like I do, it's literally, you know, there's not even a remote glint of an acceptance that I can turn in my rent late, then you're going to build up perfect credit by paying on the first, you know, you're building up great perfect credit by always paying your lease on time. You're going to seem like a great tenant, which is going to, you know, get things your way at the apartment and make your future leases a lot better. And you avoid late fees and things like that. So again, obviously everyone's apartment experiences are going to be quite different, but these are my experiences based on my first 3 to 4 months of living in an apartment by myself / somewhat with my fiance, and I wanted to share them with you guys. I do hope you enjoyed. Smash that like button if you did. Leave a comment down below with what you think, or if you have any other tips or advice or thoughts on living in an apartment. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. My voice is kind of dying here. I should probably go to sleep. It's almost 5 a.m.